Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Sai Ram, and welcome everyone for yet another Govind Satsangh that has been happening for a year now with His grace, where every week we have an alumni coming in, sharing their lessons, experience with Swami, and I call them the Ratnas, who come in every week to share their message of the Lord as imbibed by them. And we have yet another Ratna today, thanks to Haryana, who keeps bringing them week after week. And over to Haryana to introduce the Ratna who is going to be addressing us later. Sai Ram. Haryana, unmute yourself, Anna. Anna, you have to unmute.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Anna, we can hear you.
Yeah. Om Shri Sai Ram. Pranams at the lotus feet of the Lord Bhagwan. Dear pilgrims, today we are blessed to have yet another lovely alumnus, Shri Dr. Prasanna Sai Venkateswaran. I don't want to introduce him formally because all of you know that I never introduce anybody formally, because that informal introduction is it throws light much more than the formal introduction. I just want to say Prasanna is my younger brother Gopalan's classmate and one of the most cheerful personality. Even when he joined his +2 in Swami's institution, I think 1980, along with my brother, and I always used to enjoy the conversation with Prasanna, and there was one more boy who was also always joking. So Prasanna, even that time, he was a good conversationalist, and even today he is the same. He has not changed a bit from that. A very intelligent student and an intelligent personality. All of us have heard his brother, elder brother, Dr. Shankar Subramaniam, speaking to us. Today we are having Prasanna Sai. He is doing yeoman service for Swami's activities, being in Chennai, and throughout he is doing, and one of the pillars of Swami students organization, alumni organization, and as I told, is a fantastic personality and a true devoted person to Swami. Today we are lucky to have him, and I personally love him lots, and I'm happy today we are going to have him. And I request my younger brother Prasanna Sai Venkateswaran to share his heart out. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Anna, you got to unmute. Yeah, okay.
Om Shri Sai Ram. At the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Thanks to Haryana for introducing and asking me to speak. Actually, I have started speaking for last 2 years, I told him.
You know, at home you don't speak, that's okay.
Yes.
With what is you have to speak?
Yes. through that, there is a lot of activities which are happening on virtually on a daily basis. There is not a single day goes without Bhagwan's work happening some part of the world, connected to us. And there are some major programs from Alumini side also happening now. Swami is giving tremendous opportunities. Swami is blessing it. I think there's a lot to see as we keep moving. Is my voice clear?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Perfect.
To begin with, I completely surrender to Bhagwan today. Whatever I speak is nothing to express my thoughts. I'm a passive sound system. What Bhagwan wants to communicate will go through all of us. It is an experience to all of us. And we will enter this next hour and a half journey only with that complete faith in him. You might have heard, I heard there are about 50 speakers who have spoken before. You will hear many more. At this age and experience, when all of us have traveled through the journey along with Bhagwan, what occurs in now is there is a need to reflect on Bhagwan's directions to all of us. Of course, taking cues from certain personal experiences to add what is called the flavor or a faith. So if it is going to be a straight only philosophy, obviously people may not be able to digest. So as we, olden days, we say, the charitra of the saints and seers of the Lord, like Mahabhakta Vijayam, or you take anything for that matter. Why are those anecdotes given? The anecdotes are given so that you actually merge in that anecdote, but come out of it not with the same anecdote, but take your own journey towards Swami. The Bhakta is not important. Bhagavan is important, finally. So what I would, last 2-3 days I've been praying to Swami and preparing for this. Thanks for giving me this sadhana. So I will bring in some of the pearls of wisdom or assurances by Bhagavan and try to reflect in our life with certain experiences with Swami, so that there is also a journey for us to cherish, how Bhagavan was with us. How wonderful was that journey, which will never come again. It's impossible to, to even think of it. I mean, wildest of the dreams. The Maya was so powerful at a point of time, we thought it will be there forever. We thought we are having it on a daily basis, and that will stay forever, because that is the Maya. But then now you realize that we should have taken that nectar more and more and more and more, and we missed it, notwithstanding how much ever we could sponge on. See, Bhagwan's speech in 1968, he says, your worldly intelligence cannot fathom the ways of God. He cannot be recognized by mere cleverness of intelligence. My God, see the power of speech. 1968, Swami is just coming straight. You may benefit from God, but you cannot explain him. No amount of satsang we can explain him. Your explanations are merely guesses or attempts to cloak your ignorance in pompous expressions. My God, what a powerful statement. These are all truth of God. So that speech was a very powerful speech, 1968. Bring something into your daily practice as evidence of your having known the secret of the higher like things from me. What Bhagavan says is, don't keep on intellectualizing what I'm saying. Bring something into your life. Way back in 1968. The purpose of Avatar is this, actually. Bhagavan wants us to experience him, have the joy of his miracles which happen in our daily life, and then transform our lives, because this journey is going to be the journey towards the Divine Master. I still remember, as Haryana was saying, during my 11th standard, we were all small chukti boys those days. We were going home after, the holiday. In those days, if, there'll be one bus from Puttaparthi, and we'll have to take that bus and land in Bangalore, and then go back to our destinations, homebound destinations. And so happened, we all came, and we started going to our respective homes. And as I began the journey from Bangalore towards Tamil Nadu, deep Tamil Nadu, full overnight journey in the bus sitting, person next to me asked, small boy sitting, traveling, without parents, imagine roughly around 40 years back, right? He is asking, where are you from? Where are you going? I said, I'm going from Puttaparthi to my hometown for after the first year of my +1. We used to call it junior college those days. That institution existed for 3 years, actually. And as Arina said, by Bhagwan's grace, I secured a state rank in Andhra Pradesh board, and I was given scholarship by the Andhra Pradesh board for my degrees in post-graduation. So happened, he asked me, and typically these people, they try to pull a conversation in the bus. We know where they're coming from. We were as an 11th standard boy. He asked me, what do you think about Baba? I told him, he is the best correspondent I have had in my life. He thought I'm going to tell him he's God. He looked at me like this. Then he said, I told him, see, where on earth you will get an institution wherein you get not only education for making your livelihood, but also, as Swami says, education for living, education for life. Swami says, this is not. I'm not here to create a begging bowl, right? I'm going to give you education for life, not for living. Very safe place. Parents need not worry, And I told him all good things about the institute. Slowly he got attracted. Then I told him, sir, beyond this, I don't want to, reveal. How much ever I tell you what is Mysore Pak, unless you eat, you will not know the sweetness. You come to Puttaparthi, experience, and then you ask next question. That was the end of the conversation. So Swami used to say many things, many times this, experience me. Don't explain me. Experiencing the master, the divine master, is in itself a learning day in and day out. Day in and day out. Chane, chane, as Swami says, right? Today, it's a very auspicious day. People think auspicious days are drawn with muhurtam, right? If there's a wedding day, it's about 55 days in a year, you have muhurtam. Swami says, any day is an auspicious day. Why? Beautifully explained in Satya Sai Speaks. He says, the day when good devotees, see the adjective. Swami always, you must read Bhagwan's thing very, very carefully. Never read in a hurry, right? The day when good devotees gather together and pray. Oh Lord, in sweet words. The day when you offer to the devotees of God delicious food. So Swami says very clearly, Narayan Seva is a great seva. The day when you mix with the poor like others, like brothers, in fraternal union. The day when a high-souled devotee comes to you and relates the stories of the divine. Satsangh, Bhagavan says, only that day is a really sacred day. The fact that if there is no will of Lord, 25, 30 people like this cannot form. This is the ultimate truth. It cannot happen again and again. As Mr. Venkat was saying, I'll guarantee you, Swami is the first respondent to this program. He'll be there beginning. He'll come 5 minutes before the program. What you told me is right. If you want to experience Swami in many of these places, come 5 minutes before. You will experience Swami. After that, the crowd will come. You cannot experience Swami. It's a fact of life. Many people have seen this. Many people have experienced it in many Sai programs. Bhagwan is very much present. Even as late as, I would say, let's say 4, 5, maybe 5 years back. We do this industrial training program for Swami students, MBA students, both, Patti as well as the Anantapur. So I think it was maybe 6 years back. I don't remember exact number of years. When we started the management faculty in Anantapur, we brought them to Chennai for industrial visit, and generally I coordinate and take them to the company's evening and bring them back. So we put them near my house. There is a nice, good staying place by a devotee. Nice, good bhajan hall. Nicely done, almost like Mandir, Prashanti Mandir. And we lock the room and go. They stay there. Evening, when we come back, last day, full of vibhuti from Swami's altar. Only on the last day. That means what? Swami says, I'm there. The program is over. Go home safely now. So Swami comes to that place because they are Swami's children. When they come, Swami comes before and checks whether it is all safe, whether it is all clean. So I was telling the Sevadars and everyone, even though it is 20, 16, 17, 15, make sure, because they are all Swami's children and Swami is accompanying them. And you'll feel it. You have to be very, very careful. So because Bhagwan is very much traveling along with them. So this is the love of God. The love of God has to be experienced. When you go deeper, we experience. I think somebody was saying, when Padmanabha Shastri was, I think, doing puja, olden days, Mandir, originally if you go to any temple or anywhere, all this pujas, what they will say, in the end they will say, Papa Oham, Papa Karmanam, Papa Atma, Papa Sambhavan, Trahimam, Kripya Deva, Sharanagata Vatsala. Swami came down and said, in my place there is no Papa, no Papi comes here. It is Praptoham, Prapta Karmanam, Prapta Atma, Prapta Sambhavan. So the fact that all of us have entered the circle of Bhagwan in some fashion. It can be, a small Balavika student. It can be, let us say a youth coming into the Bhagwan's program. It can be a Mahila coming into the Swami's program. It can be a, full-fledged Samiti member coming into the Swami's program. Just look at it. They're all Praptam. Praptoham, Prapta Karmanam, Prapta Atma, Prapta Sambhavan. The fortunate are those who have this great opportunity to be in the inner circle of the Lord and experience being with other, I would say, co-travelers in the journey towards it. As we keep seeing this movement, I will trace back right from my Balavika's time, make it slightly anecdotal and not go deeper into, experience. But I'll put certain questions in front of us so that when we walk out of the session, there is something in us to reflect upon and to see how we can internalize, as Bhagwan says, become closer and closer to him by trying to internalize his teachings, his messages, his directions. The most documented avatar is Swami. I'll tell you, you cannot find this kind of documentary evidences on any avatar. You have seen Sarvadharma symbol. All of us know Bhagwan's emblem is Sarvadharma symbol, right? It's wonderful. And all of you also know the first, the stupa was done in Gindi in Chennai, and later on Swami wanted to be, constructed in during Bhagwan's, Golden Jubilee celebration in Prashant Nilayam. It's a grand inauguration. But what did Bhagwan convey by all this? Swami says very clearly, but the statement of Bhagwan is so wonderful, no? The entire cosmos was created from truth. We all wonder what it is. Ekam Sat. He says truth is the ultimate stuff. How to understand this? It is sustained by truth and merges in truth. Know ye that this truth is the immaculate reality pervading everything in the universe. He says, Ekam Sat Vipraha Bhaguta Vadanti. There is only one. He says, Swami says, there's only one. People may call it in name, forms and shapes are completely different. The reality is one. But how do we experience this reality of Bhagavan? How Swami teaches this, one single fact? I was something like 7th standard student at that point of time. And of course, we all came to Swami more than 60 years ago. And obviously, we were in the thick and thin of the organization's activities wherever we were. And my father was a judicial officer. Some of his, office colleagues wanted to go to Sabarimala. And that point of time, my father said, no, see, I cannot do this 40 days Vratam and all that. Then they said, yeah, you are all daily, you're doing only, Sainam, and you're such a good devotee of Bhagwan. There is no rules for you. You come on the last day, you take this you travel along with us. It is enough. That's a kind of, even certificate others give if you are closer to Swami, I think. So, but essentially the last few days he was wearing the Ayyappa dhoti, and obviously this was in early 70s. We can imagine some other people commenting in a Sai Baba devotee, Ayyappa devotee. So just laughing and just smiling. So for Swami, everything is the same. Then I was coming from school, and while coming from school, I bought a picture of the Lord, and there was not even a steel sheet behind. It was just one, we call it in Tamil atte padam. And some devotees came. We all did Swami Bhajan and 2-3 songs on Lord Ayyappa. And mind what happened. See, finally, even when we have not seen the people who came to sing the songs, Vibhuti coming from Ayyappa's photo. The Swami's, expression of his presence coming from the Lord's, different forms, as he represents in various ways. Of course, there are many things happened when he visited the temple, had various spiritual experiences. The reason why, and we had, actually as Balakas children, we even enacted a drama for a zonal meet called Ekam Sat Vipraha Bhaguta Vadanti. Why I'm saying that is, at different points of time, Bhagavan has established all roads lead to Rome, as they say. Swami says, everything is one. We have seen right from the olden days, various celebrations happening at, Prashant Nilayam. But we have to stay on course what we like. Swami says, don't keep jumping. Stay on course. Focus your sadhana, and don't discriminate. The ultimate truth is one. So every time we tend to experience Bhagavan's teachings through various forms as he wants to, enact that in front of us. Last 2 months back, I was trying to document some of those old, experiences. My sister was telling, "Why don't you document?" And this particular experience, I was writing, and again, it so happened when I opened Bhagwan's one of the Satsai speaks. When I was writing about this miracle, that page was on Ekam Satit Praha Bhagavadanta. Just imagine, that means Swami is watching us. Swami is constantly watching us. So this is when they say, when Sahasra Sirisha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat, if you believe in that, it is not thousands, it is countless. It is called virtual. See, when we say today, we all believe, what, had I told you that in 1980, you can receive a phone call by keeping a mobile phone on next to your earphone, people would have laughed at us. Hey, how we thought wire you can hear. But now we are all believing that now wireless is possible and wire is not required. So as the stage of evolution goes, we will actually understand more and more the deep truths, because the deep truths cannot be understood when you are in the gross form. You have to go, you have to move, you have to migrate, you have to, as Swami says, you can't be a kindergarten student always. You cannot say A, B, C, D always. You have to come up and say cat, mat, rat. And then after that, you have to form sentences. You have to actually come up. You have to become undergraduate. You have to become postgraduate. So as similarly in this path of, the journey towards God, constantly we have to evolve and start, going deeper into Bhagwan's, I would say, teachings. So this was one of the many early experiences of, during our childhood, when we all used to, come to Prashant Nilayam. So many experiences and miracles during those days. Very difficult times to travel. You all crossed Stravati in bullock carts. But then the great happiness is, see, when you see Swami. So it will never, on that, when you return back, you don't want to go back. You'll be crying. Still remember when I read when one of these readings of I would say Bhagwan's literature and writings of devotees. I believe in Patha Mandiram, when people used to go back, Swami used to stand and wave hands, and sometimes there'll be a small, I would say moisture. Essentially, Swami used to say the sins of these people are all getting washed away. See, the master moves ahead of us. The divine master actually, that is the avatar. Avatar did not come to prove a point. It's not required. Avataranam is what? Avataranam is God descending on earth so that the man's hand can be held and he can be guided. It is a transformation of man. Swami said it's not to create one more God. There are 33,000 gods, Swami used to say. There is no need to create one more God. It is to actually transform the mankind. It is for those who can latch on to him and take this powerful journey. As we moved into the portals of Bhagwan's institution, as I said, junior college, there was sweet old days. We used to stay in Pandit shed. There used to be a shed next to the canteen, and so nice, right? Get up morning at around 4:15, as the night watchman will wake us up. But sometimes he'll wake up at 3:45, 3:30 itself. He will say, "4 baje aa gaya, uto ji," and then we'll go have a shower and come back and get ready for Omkaram, Suprabhatam, Nagar Sankirtan. Then get on to move to college. Great days when Bhagwan used to wave hands, till the last boy leaves to college. He'll come on the slope in the mandir. Unbelievable days, sweet days. Can you imagine? By chance,
Good, you remember that. Because
Yes,
I used to tell that. Good.
yes.
Excellent.
You can't get, you will never get those experiences in life again. You know, the joke is by chance Swami stops waving, no, the line will stop. The relationship with Bhagwan and the Sai Swami students is so good, you could demand that kind of intimacy and, and that kind of, affection with Swami is a mother and father, and we can say thousand. We don't know how to express that actually. Thousand is just a English expression to say that thousand mothers love, but it's much more and beyond as we see it. Those were the great days. Why I'm explaining that is, again, I'm bringing back one experience to all of you. I think I spoke about it in Vrindavan Samarpan also. The love towards Swami has to be simple. Swami does not want great conditional love. Swami does not want, some love with a lot of rules and regulations, and we force ourselves into saying, how can I be Bhakta? My God, why you? With Bhagavan, there is no broker. With the God, what is that? You just have to love God. You stand in front of, traditionally people have said, right? Swami used to say, when they go and stand in front of Balaji after Tirupati, after standing in so much of queue, they'll close the eyes finally. Right? All of us close eyes. My God, you walked and you did all this. You're getting few seconds over there. Why don't you open your eyes and see? But at that point of time, what happens? It is unison with God. The devotee actually becomes one with God. He says, what should I see with this eye, naked eye? I'm seeing you inside. Yes, I waited in the queue for so long, but end of the day, I'm seeing inside. That is internalization. So the divine does not expect so much of formalities. Swami said, I have separated from myself, so that I can love myself, right? Essentially, the divine has taken so many forms. So it's so nice to talk to God. See the picture of Swami and talk to Swami. That's all Swami wants. Connect with the divine master. That's all. It's enough. We were chotu boys during, I think it was in my 12th standard, junior college. And some 5-6 of us, I think Gopal also was there, if I'm right. I don't vaguely remember. Even for after so many years, we all failed to document many things. I repent now. So, but yeah, we recollect when we meet together some of those old, great experiences we had with Bhagwan. And I think that was 82, if I'm right. Trey Vrindavan was under construction, and Swami was staying in Rajmata's house. We were about 5 of us from my class who had to come to Bangalore and go to their home. Some of them will go to Dharmavaram and take a train and go. Some of them will go to Anantapur and go. Some of them will go to Hindupur and go. Some of them will come to Bangalore and go. Some of them will have direct. So there was a Hyderabad bus or some other thing they'll take and go directly from Prashanthi. So we came to Bangalore, and we before going we decided, no, we are not going home. We'll go and tell Swami that no, take permission, take blessing, and then only go home. A bunch of 5 fellows, hardly, I would say at this point of time, they're supposed to go home directly from hostel. Decided to go to Vrindavan, take blessing from Swami. Like, look at how there's a simplicity actually, is the childlike love is what Bhagwan appreciates. We take this 10 o'clock bus. There was one bus, KSRTC. We go to Bangalore. It was around 2:30. We reached 2:15, I think. We went to the Bangalore. And then outside, our Kurga was there. Sipai was there. We told him, see, he saw us. He knows, obviously, we are all in white and white. He knows we are all coming from Prashanthi. Then he said, Kya chahiye? He said, we told, no, we want to see Swami. He started laughing because he knows how at 2 o'clock in the middle of the day, we'll say, how can you walk inside and go and disturb, right? By the time somebody retired, meet it for lunch. Evening darshan will be around, let's say around 5 o'clock. And, he said, but how can he say no? Because he knows we are from Prashanthi. He said, no, we are going home. 5 o'clock, our return buses to our hometown will start in Kempagoda Circle. We'll have to return back. So we don't have time. We can't wait for darshan. We have to finish our darshan with Swami and go back. Just see that. The childlike demand. This is not arrogance. This is simply saying, I have a problem. Look, my only Swami knows. You don't know. Keep quiet. No, it's like that, It's such a simple love. And at that point of time, the warden, previous warden, came down from upstairs. He was coming from Swami's room. The bungalow, and he saw, hey guys, what is it? So no, sir, we are going home, and we want Swami's darshan. Said, how man? It's 2:15. Evening darshan is at 5 o'clock. As he was saying, and he was also not able to, he can't. He was saying, oh, these young kids are what these kids are asking like that. He was also tapping all of us and patting us and hey, come on, get going, yeah. Swami's blessing is always there. You can't disturb now. Tap, the door opened. The ground floor door opened. 2:15, 2:30. Swami walks out of Rajmata's house. Swami says, hey, allow them inside. Then 5 of us run to Swami, and Swami says, Amy, hey, I know you're all going home, and 5 o'clock is here. You have to catch the bus return journey, See what else we are talking outside, Swami says, then he gives prasadam, and Swami says, yeah, Swami's blessing is there. You're good boys. Go home and come back for your degree classes. At that point of time, I also forgot. One of my classmates was saying, I asked Swami, you have given us prasadam. What about our parents? And Swami gives another lot. Oh, yes, take this for your parents. Why I'm saying that is, this childlike devotion. If you really see all this, the writings of devotees of Bhagavan, many avatars and anything you will find. This childlike, unconditional love is to be, the only thing which should be nurtured in our heart. Never get, clouded by anything. This is our, direct experience with Bhagavan. As Swami writes again in 1968, if you will accept me and say yes, I too will respond and say yes, yes, yes. If you deny and say no, I also echo no. Come, examine, experience, have faith. This is the method of utilizing me. Swami says, I have taken avatar. You have to, as you have to take one step, I will take 1,000 steps. But that single step you have to take. What is the single step you can take? Accept me and say yes. Not one day, not once, every day, every moment, without doubt. Never have doubt. So this is how Bhagavan, simple, I would say, way to connect. There is no, great, Swami did not say, you have to do this yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Most of us would have been, would have got evaporated by that type, right? Bhagavan gave such a simple process, very simple method, heart to heart, connect heart to heart, and you experience me. My God, it's like saying, I would say, without even mobile phone in the hand, without even SIM in the hand, you just want to say hello and you can start speaking, right? Imagine that kind of technology tomorrow, right? It's like that. It's unbelievable. Just see, imagine the session what you're having, right? You can't dream of this 20 years back, but you are seeing today because of, the technological, evolution. So similarly, as the yugas have crossed, it looks like, there is also, I would say, as Bhagavan said, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, right? The way to God is also becoming easier. Even this, if you miss, then it is our fate. So when Bhagavan has given such an easy thing, I think we should take it. We should take it, it's with all our heart, and just keep, proceeding our journey towards his self. Another dimension, as I wanted to express today, is Bhagavan's, I would say, categorical statement on why this body is given to the human being. Swami constantly, in so many speeches, has given this statement, right? Paropakarartham idam shariram. This body is given for us so that we can help somebody, every day. Should be of use to others. Swami says that is the easiest method to purify yourself. What a wonderful, simple truth. All this is practical, as Swami says, discarding the idea that education is for acquiring degrees, students should engage themselves in social service and promote the progress of the nation. See, such a very, very, very clear, profound thoughts. Swami says, be in society. I am not asking you to wear, ochre robes and start sitting in a corner. Very, very, clear, in terms of directions for all of us. So it is, Bhagavan did not come for a sectarian. It's not for those only renounced sadhus. Bhagavan has come to protect. God has come to Avatar. When Avatar comes, it actually handles, multi-dimensional, batch of devotees, right? So to one according to his way, to one according to his or her evolution, to one according to his needs and expectations, there are ways and means of, practicing Bhagavan's, the teachings of Lord. But Swami has made it so simple that all of us, common men, can follow. That is the greatness of this avatar. The greatness of this avatar is it came down to that level and made, big truth look very simple, like a capsule you can swallow. That's the greatness of the avatar. So Swami says, when we do surveys, what we do is not important. We can say, today I gave Narayan Seva for 100 people. Today I gave education opportunity for 400 children. Swami says, all that is number you look at. I don't look at. Swami says, what the Seva does to you is more important. My God. Simple truth, right? Swami says, this Seva, while doing Seva, there is a transformation in you. What is the transformation? Nothing is mine and thine. I am not going to carry anything, right? You start seeing happiness in others, right? You start practicing Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So therefore, as Swami says, expansion is love, right? You start becoming, at least selfishness degree comes down from 100 degrees to 99.9, right? So there is some amount, otherwise Swartham, Suprayojanam, as Swami says daily, right? That is where our life goes. So that's why when you used to sing Tava Seva Ki Avasara Dijo, it doesn't mean we are looking at a personal assistantship. Tava Seva Ki Avasara Dijo Satyasai Magadev means what? We are asking Bhagavan opportunity to do Seva because we are seeing Swami in everybody to whom we are rendering Seva. I still remember some of those. That's why you should. The moment we start, going through the literature of Bhagavan and read so much, you'll. The first, when the Bangalore district president was appointed, Sevadal Convener was appointed. Swami gives him an interview, and Swami says to Sevadal Convener, "Look, you are a Sevadal Convener means what? You cannot command these 10 people around you. They are all doing Swami Seva. You have to take care of them. You are a welfare master, teacher welfare PR, HR manager for them. You must ensure that they all are, happier. They should not get into difficulty because all those 10 Sevadals are doing Swami's work. My God, what a responsibility. So see, Dasoham Kosil, Dasanu Dasa. He says, as we become office bearers of organization, we become Dasanu Dasa actually. Not two kumbus, not two horns on our head, right? See, this is what Swami watches. Swami says, as an office bearer, how are you conducting yourself? right? Unbelievable, practical. You will never see, Swami's all experiences and directions are practical, nothing theoretical. You can put into practice today. You don't even need to think and say, can I do it tomorrow, or is it difficult? Do I need interpretation from somebody else? Not required, right? Why I'm saying Swami loves this Paropakaratham, I'll tell you one experience. So during again my undergraduate time, and when we go on, these vacations, generally, we don't keep quiet. Swami students, we keep engaging in some seva or other, because that has been part of our life. It's like this. If you don't do something, you cannot. You feel boring, right? You have to do seva. That is what gives you inner happiness, right? So at that point of time, and we are all old devotees, we keep doing. There is nothing like reporting to Swami. So happened some other students that time they wrote to Swami, and Warden carried those letters to Swami, and Swami started talking. Then Swami said, "Okay, Swami, abbai itla chesadu, abbai so and so is doing this seva, so and so is doing." Swami listened to him. Then Swami said, "Look, I will tell you about one fellow. He won't tell you, but I'm telling you in his town what he's doing now." Then he spoke about me, and then and some said, "Chuda Shankar Studium Tamudu, I know what he's doing and what amount of seva is doing now. I'll tell you." And things that Warden kept quiet, and then he came back. I said, "No, that experience is for you, sir, not for me, not for me. It is. We all believe Swami is. We are all brought up like that. We have no second thinking. There is we believe wherever we are doing, whatever we are doing, Swami is watching. That's it." So Swami knows in a corner of a town of India, when you are doing a seva, Swami is watching, and Swami has said, "This is what the person is doing now. You don't know, I know, but he will not write to you because he believes that Swami is there with him now." So the fact that we innately believe that Bhagavan is watching us, Bhagavan proves that he is watching us. So that is why I'm saying, when Swami says Paropakaratham Vidam Shariram and engage in seva, be sure that Bhagavan is blessing us, and pray for more opportunity to serve him. So this is about the teaching of Bhagavan on seva, and how Bhagavan has given us actually an experience to go continue this journey. As a runner, when you keep running, you need glucose, you need some amount of lemon juice, you need some amount of something, some nutrition to continue your marathon race, right? So Swami also gives some experiences as and when you are in the journey, so that you continue the journey again and again and again. So that is the beauty of the master, right? As part of our undergraduation, we all during the time, as I told in the beginning of the session, Bhagavan is, we express 1,000 mothers' love and things like that, right? Why I'm saying this is that there's a learning on top of this particular experience with Bhagavan. It was Bhagavan's 60th birthday. Lakhs and lakhs of people were waiting outside, and the Vedam boys, we found the previous day even to go to Mandir, it was difficult because the crowd is so much everywhere. It's huge, and you can't even wade your way through to reach Mandir. So what we decided, we will go early in the morning to Mandir. We'll skip our breakfast also, right? And in hostel we get breakfast around 7 o'clock. So we actually left. We took bath. We wore our dhotis. We 6 o'clock. Because there is going to be a procession on that day. 60th birthday. So 6:15 we left, and all of us somehow we made our way through. We jumped a compound wall. We reached Mandir Bhajan Hall. We were inside, and Swami came down, and the people are getting ready for procession. He came inside the hall, and that's Swami, right? That why I'm saying is this is a nice experience of Swami's students, and Swami asked us, hey, Emana తీసుకున్నారా పొద్దున? Have you eaten something? Then 2-3 of us told Swami, no, it's so crowded, and we decided to come a little early so that we can find our way through and come. Just imagine the love of God, as nobody will think. Imagine you and me in that position. Imagine there's a big function, for us, lakhs and lakhs of people are waiting for us. Imagine what will be our mindset, right? We won't walk on the air. We'll walk, somewhere, 1 lakh feet above and 1 lakh meters above we'll be walking, right? Just see Swami's love and affection, right? And Swami said, hey, it's about to start. Then immediately Swami said, yeah, I'll get you something. He got us, got from canteen upma, told us all to have upma, and then Swami said, there is no water there to wash. Swami brought papers, to wipe our, hands and cleanse. Just why I'm saying is, when Swami says, my life is my message, see, we all think, we all read about it, we all talk about it. This is Bhagavan's, when you see something, you must act. You should not postpone. See, when Swami says, when you see it, somebody needing a help, we should act. See, Swami, this action is more important and not thinking about it. Right? Swami, see, there are so many things we have to organize that day morning, right? Is Upma organizing for us the priority for, I think, the list of, Bhagavan's 60th birthday celebration. Just imagine. See, this is Swami actually. Swami teaches us by every act, saying that when you accost something, when there is a need, act. Don't talk. So Swami, then the moment Swami opened the door and, when we are lost, Swami has the distance between our and Swami did like this, and lakhs and lakhs of devotees waiting for Swami, right? The whole thing is different, right? Swami is for the entire, the mankind waiting outside, right? That is the love of God. The love of God is to be experienced. After experiencing the love of God, we have to say, oh my God, can I, put little at least into my life, into practicing that? Can I offer a help, daily? Have I wasted a day today? That's what Swami says about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, right? Every day I believe Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to, when he goes to sleep, he will cry, he'll say, one more day gone and I have not seen you, right? I have not seen you, I have not experienced you, the divine, right? So this is the agony. The agony of today is for us is, one more day gone. Have I done something? Have I spent the day meaningful? Have I stood the day which will please my master? Will Swami be pleased that, today Sunday, have I done something good? Can I give my accounts at the end of the day? I will tell you about that. There is a sloka for that also. When I draw the end of the day, when I go and present myself before him, do I have, credible, what is the experience during the day to stand before him, right? It's very important. So there's an expression which Swami says. Swami has told this to one very senior doctor, right? When he writes about some of this, Swami says, Durukindi Dachuko. See, Swami gives the divine experiences are there, You won't get again this Upma experience, right? You won't get this again, the love of God, and such a most difficult occasions or troublesome occasions in life, God comes and saves you. Durukindi Dachuko. But you preserve these experiences and contemplate on it, reflect on it, and say, oh God, let me transform myself. Let me be grateful to you. Let me stand by that. Let this, purify me. Let me do some more, of this acharana. So that is what is Durukindi Dachuko. So Swami says it is not easy. You won't get again and again. I move to the next expression, which is basically Bhagwan's omniscience and omnipresence, right? Very nicely, Bhagavan, writes in Satsangh Speaks, volume 24, right? Swami says, Antike Sat. That means he says, divine is the nearest. My God. So these are all, what is the Vedic statements for us. Once you are in the Sai fold, right? Swami says, God is very much nearer to you than your mother and dearer to you than your father. You cannot afford to forget such a God. Bear this good counsel in mind. These are all very clear, directions of the avatar, right? Very, very clear directions, right? So he says, the divine, once you have this simplicity of love and bhakti towards Bhagwan, towards your God, the divine is next to you. There's nothing like next. It is actually in you, around you. Swami says below you, above you, everything, right? Swami, I'm above you, below you, my God, right? There's so many experiences, so many miracles, right? People have seen it. It's unbelievable. And that is the power of God. So this omnipresence, omniscience is the power of the avatar. So it so happened, one of the days, during early days when Bhagwan used to be to the hill station in Tamil Nadu, we used to be around. And after that, you all know the MBA students came and, Shai Shruti was constructed, and it was a different, again, set of students and batches. When you're sitting in Mandir, after that, early 80s, I was just thinking, Swami crossed, there is a nice, after the parapet wall, there used to be a central Sarvadharma Prashanti emblem, the logo. And Swami will come from the French side and walk through the boys and go to gents side and go to ladies side, finish darshan and go back. Swami just crossed me. A thought occurred in my mind. I said, we were all, just about 15 days back, we were all so close. We were 15, 20 of us. And I'm sure in Prashanti Nilayam, it is such a big gathering, and I cannot expect, that kind of, connect. I said, I hope you remember me. The thought occurred in my mind. I hope you remember me, right? Immediately Swami turned. As the thought occurred, immediately Swami turned. And he said, blessed leader. So what thoughts goes across your mind, that is what is called Bhagavan's omniscience. Omniscient means what? Swami knows everything. Because of our lack of connectivity, we feel there is no, we cannot speak to somebody on a phone, right? But the problem is in the mobile. The problem is probably in the, as you can explain in modern technology, certain other things, but it is existing. So the omnipresence and omniscience have to be experienced. And that is where we get certain reinforcements in the journey. As I told you, when the marathon race is happening, you need certain lime juice. You need certain glucose. These are the experiences which gives you that particular booster and say, continue the journey, continue the journey. Even 3 years ago, I will tell you one experience which happened for us. It was actually the Karnataka state office bearers meet in Sai Shruti. And at that time, the state president asked me, and since it's happening in your state, can you, evening, I want you to do a nice, good program for, for on the last day, valedictory day. Swami students do, it will be very nice. And it'll be then we bind on the program and travel back the next day. It was on a Sunday, so I said, okay, we will do, sir. And I picked up around 7-8 of us, and we were driving from Chennai. The boy said, sir, we'll reach Sai Shruti and then have food. We'll not eat lunch anywhere outside. I said, okay, so be it. It so happened because it is summer, suddenly the last bit of 8 kilometers, there was a huge traffic jam. Huge traffic. By the time we reached, we crossed, it was 2 o'clock, 2:33, and the program is at 5 o'clock, right? Last 8 kilometers, we took 2 hours actually. And I was praying hard. What is this? I called our Tamil Nadu Vice President and Suresh and Alumini. I told him, see, Suresh, it looks like we won't be able to even reach, the place. I think we have to postpone the program to tomorrow. This was the expression, I was telling him. Then he said, no, Prasanna, I think Swami is there. Somehow you will come. It will happen. And it was 4:15. Suddenly, the Innova crosses my vehicle. And that guy says, like this, he calls my driver. And I told him, he's calling us. And God alone knows who is this person, right? He's accosting us. We are standing back to back in a journey. Then he says, come like this. He takes us through some by lane. And we went on a steep climb. And finally, we landed near the lake. And he says, you go like this. And he goes off. How does he know where we are going? Who is he? How does he detour us? Who guides us? In a highway, without even talking, because we have to reach on time. We have exactly 30 minutes to 4:30. We had our lunch. We got ready and we started the program at, I think, 5:30. What I am saying is, if you believe the omnipresence, the omnipresent will manifest itself. See, finally, that faith and belief is within us. That faith and belief, the strength of I would say, you all understand, the clarity of this call is connected because of the bandwidth, right? You will say, right? So the strength of the bandwidth determines the clarity of the call, right? So the strength of the faith and the relationship with the divine actually is the one, and that has to come from each one of us. So that is where we'll start experiencing. Each of you, I'm sure, and that's what I keep telling people. There are each one of you. The fact that you are in this circle, you will be experiencing, the divine in some form or other, during the journey. But you need to contextualize that. You need to take that as the booster and continue the journey. See, many of us think that that is not important. No, every small experience that Bhagavan gives us is big experience in the journey, because that shows that the Divine Master is traveling along with you. That is the beauty of it, right? Another dimension of Bhagavan is actually the discipline. This, I think the students know it much better, right? So on a very, very strict, you will never tolerate indiscipline, right? And if anything is there, he will say, Pampicho, right? So essentially saying, no, I don't want. If you're not following discipline, then you are not a student. You cannot be in Swami's college. You cannot be in Swami's school, right? So discipline is the hallmark of, Bhagavan's SSSIHL organization, Bhagavan's institutions, college or hospital or school or anything like that, right? So Swami writes very nicely. Swami says, sow an action, reap a tendency. Sow a tendency, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character and reap a destiny. Satsangh speaks, right? Such a very, very lucid, simple expression. So disciplined action, when it is in force, what it leads, you can shape your destiny, Swami says. So that actually becomes a tendency. Tendency becomes a habit. Habit becomes a character. Character actually shapes your destiny. You know, wonderful expression, right? So it so happened during the, between the Gopuram and the canteen side, olden days, there used to be Kadapa stone and sand. There was no concrete flooring, right? And I think it was somewhere in 84, I think, 83, 84. At that time only, first time this concrete pavement was done in summertime. So after my examination, Swami was in Tamil Nadu in the hill station. So we all returned back for after examination, and of course they sent me letters to Swami and all that. I carried and passed it down to inside Swami's room in where Bhagavan was staying. And afternoon, sometime Swami called for some kind of I would say interview discussion, and a couple of people were there. And at that point of time, Swami asked suddenly, "Hey, have you seen that? How is the progress of that? Concretizing near that Gopuram happening?" I just kept quiet. I couldn't answer. Why? Because as per our rules and schedule of authority, we are not supposed to go outside. When Swami is not in Mandir, we are not supposed to travel outside Vidyagiri, right? So, and that too during examination time, we'll be in hostel, we'll go to college, and we'll go back. So I just kept quiet, smiled at Swami and said, "Swami, naku akkada pani ledu, nenu akkada vellaledu. I had no work to go to Mandir side, so I didn't go there. I don't know what is happening. I don't know what is it." This was my response. Bhagavan said, "Look, this is exactly what I want. That is discipline." Then Swami said, "My boy won't go if there is no work. He will not be roaming around like others." So essentially, you have to go by the structure, discipline, code of conduct, which Bhagavan has given us. So Bhagavan has given olden days in 60s, I remember. So we used to have a set of code of conduct, from like we have now, and we used to have a native language. Swami used to say, "Kandavar kutram kanakidade, aravadiyil nada," basically saying, don't find fault with others, follow the path of this one, dharma, வாழ்வு 2 நாள் சந்தை, life is like a 2-day, what's that called, Santa, right? Papa bhayame deva bhayam, basically, fear of sin and love of God. So Swami gave very nice code of conduct. So if you internalize this code of conduct and discipline, I'm sure Bhagavan will bless each and every one of us as we keep moving, right? And another time when we were traveling with Swami in a nice, good, outing place in a forest in Karnataka. So it was a dinner time, and there was this week recently, me and my classmate were reflecting. We traced back that story. There was hardly any place. We were jam packed in a small room, and the food was, we were serving. Some of us were serving food, and 2 of us were already serving food. And there was no place to even stand for Swami. 2-3 boys just moved their legs, and Swami stood, and we chanted Brahmarpanam. So there is a discipline that you have to chant Brahmarpanam, before having, your meal. And notwithstanding, excuse of, that you are traveling somewhere, or you're, in the midst of a difficulty or anything like that. So this is called internalizing. So this is, you have to practice day in and day out. So discipline is exactly what Swami wanted. Till that, there's no place to stand also for Swami. He was saying, "Do you remember that?" And he stood till we finished. We said, "Okay, please have now." So that is what we learned, as Bhagavan's students, actually. Another reflection which comes to my mind is, we all say we are Bhagavan's devotees and things like that. We have to ask our question: can we make Swami happy? right? So what does, when we keep reflecting on this, right? Every task we do, we offer to Bhagwan, right? So when we were students at that point of time, I still remember, as Arina was saying, right? One of the key things, I was the first batch of integrated course of the university when Swami launched the institute. And that point of time, I took it upon myself that, the one thing with Swami, I can please Swami is being a good academic student also, right? And not giving excuses, right? So I still remember, and every time after the semester results, Swami used to call, five of us, call outstanding boys. You say, oh great, oh great, oh great boys. And then Swami will give sweets. Swami will give Ravaladu. Swami will give something or other. And this is what is called, like a good, he teaches all of us how to recognize, how do you repeat, make this success repeat in one's life, right? And Swami is so proud, this is, how many students are there? Ma pillalu, mana pillalu, ma PhD scholars, this Swami used to take so much of pride in each and every student, in his competencies, in their skills, in their ability to, display their, talents. That's wonderful. And that Swami, we used to see that expression of that, happiness in Bhagavan, and that actually, continued in us, and that actually inculcated much more, I would say, good habits, I would say, teachings of Bhagavan, which we have tried to put in practice, because we know that we have seen that, that happiness in Bhagavan's face, and that pride in Bhagavan's, expression in the children closer to him. So that is what we say in Ashtottaram also, right? Sulabha Prasanna Namaha, right? It's not difficult to make Swami happy. It's not that Swami says, Bhagavan says, go and stand in Himalayas, stand in one leg, do tapas for 10, 12 years, then without food. Only then I will manifest and I'll be happy. My God, imagine if those were the rules, what would have happened to all of us, right? So it's a small act of kindness, small act of, following what he says makes Bhagavan feel extremely happy, right? So, and Swami very nicely says this expression, right? When we ask this question, how do we make Bhagavan happy, right? Swami says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanuddaraha. This is a very important explanation which Bhagavan gives, right? Yatra Partho Dhanuddaraha. That is important. See, there you see that sentence, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, right? Every one of you, Swami says, can be Arjuna, as long as you are wielding the bow and ready to work, ready to carry the task of the master. So all that Swami says is, tell me you are ready, I will give you a job. Tell me your availability, I will give competency. That's enough. You don't worry whether you have competency to do this or competency to do that. See, when Swami used to allocate so many jobs, you used to see, Swami never checks the background. Swami gives, and the person gets competency immediately, right? That's the beauty of this recruitment, right? There is no profile checking, right? All that you have to say is, I'm willing to do the seva. All that you are saying, I'm available, right? So automatically, you get qualification. And then Swami says, how can you become Arjuna? You can read this sentence and say, no, I'm ready, and give me some job. No. It says, Arjuna means white, pure, unsullied, without blemish. So therefore, also when you say that I'm ready, try to, be pure. All of us have to, every day, because purity and impurity is a question, right? Every day we sweep our house. Every day we wash our clothes. So there is impurity which is happening even in the house, even in the clothes once in a day. In our mind, every shanam. There is impurity which happens, every third minute, every third second. So essentially saying, it's not enough that means constantly we have to have an ability to cleanse. That's why he says, can you sing the name of the God? Can you do some other act? So that there is a cleansing which happens in our system constantly. And once we say we are ready, Bhagavan gives the opportunity to serve. Bhagavan gives opportunity to make it happen. Then you become Yatra Partho Dhanuddaraha. This is a powerful statement of God. He avataric statement. You can become Arjuna. Any of you can become. Any number of Arjunas are required. What else you want? You don't need to search for some of these statements, right? So if we believe Bhagavan is, avatar, and we have taken up this, the journey, I think we have to deeply believe in this avataric expressions and avataric mandates, avataric guidances, and go deeper. So this is what I keep saying. So this is my simple reflection, right? So every small act when we have done, we have seen the happiness in the face of Bhagavan. Small drama, a music program. You take anything for that matter. The amount of it's unbelievable. Master of perfection. Just I used to tell people, finally the program is again for Swami only, in front of Swami. Swami will see 42 times rehearsal, 30 times rehearsal, same drama. You and I will get bored. I'll make you. I'll see you, make you stand and see reviews 32 times. Can you see? You'll get bored. You will say, "Hey, someone do it here. Come on I'll come on the last day." You will say, right? And last day again same drama. You will say, "I know the full story, man." Right? But that is not the case. The same Adi Shankara drama, the same program when it launches, Swami is deep into that, as if Bhagavan sees first time. See, these are all in life. We have to learn. That is message of Bhagavan. You have to learn, see Swami, and see this and internalize all that. We have to get into this journey of perfection. That is where Swami is teaching. Yeah.
Everything is for him, every second. That is why he makes everything new, and he sees new in every action of ours. That's why it's called Nava Nava Koma Nigacha.
So another facet of Bhagavan. I think I have another 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Go ahead.
Go on and on. So, yes. So another facet what we have experienced is, as Bhagavan says, complete surrender. Right? It's an easy statement. It's not an, it is it's a statement which can be read or heard, but to practice that is not easy. You have to literally you have to physically, emotionally, and I would say spiritually, you'll have to have this surrender. Otherwise, you will always be a doubting Thomas. You'll always have you cannot take everything as prasadam of Bhagavan. Right? So I, for one, who always believed, writing letters to Swami is not required, even as a student. Right? I never wrote anything and asking, give me that, give me this. Nothing. I never wrote anything, for that matter. I always believed at any given point of, Bhagavan will, whatever Swami gives is his blessing, and we have to take it, and that's it. And Swami will take care of, us at that point of time. There is nothing to worry. So it so happened after my PG, during my post graduation, my sister's wedding was nearing, and since we are all old, devotees, and even many of the senior devotees were saying, telling, you have to write to Swami. Guess what? It's a formal request. You should not sit like this and expect everything to happen and things like that. Because my father had come to Shantinalayam, and we were all praying to Swami. And that point of time, I wrote a letter, but I was always hesitant to give it to Swami. So what I did, I told Swami, look, you know everything, and you have been taking care of us, and I've always believed in that. And is it important? Is it required for me to do this to you? Right? That was the thing going on in my mind. So what I said, I cannot say no to elders also. So I wrote the letter and put it in my pocket. I didn't hold the letter in the hand, right? So generally people hold the letter like this in the hand, the way you have seen typically, devotees holding letter like this, and saying to Swami to accept. I kept it in the pocket, actually. So Swami came and in the veranda, and we were in the front, sitting in the front, and see, why I'm saying is simplicity of love and affection to Swami and believing in Swami, as I told you in the beginning, that is the only way to, to communicate also with Swami. The more we complicate a relationship, it's very difficult to communicate also, right? So essentially, stay simple with God, as I keep saying, and God talks to you straight. So that's the, two-way path. So I put my finger in the pocket and I said, should I? I looked at the Swami's eyes. I said, should I give it to you or should I leave it in the pocket? Right? It's a simple expression, right? After all, it's my Swami, right? Is that some, it's me and my God. What else? What else it is? Well, who can stop, the thoughts between you and your divine master, right? Just put my finger and I said, should I give it to you or is it required? When I put my finger, Swami said, hey, Udra. Swami said, not required. Can you imagine? Imagine the conversation happening. And Swami openly, he says, people are wondering what Swami is saying Udra to him, right? Swami said, not required. I know. It is my duty. I will do it. You don't need to tell me. Just imagine. So Swami, and Swami, I said, okay, say Swami. I said, I took namaskar, right? So Bhagwan responds. If you have the direct connect and if you have this faith in him, that he knows everything and he reinforces this faith in us and helps us to, again, as a theme of today's conversation, run the marathon towards him, right? It is a journey. As we keep running the marathon, we keep getting this lemon juice. We keep getting this glucose. So this actually binds us, more and more towards him, right? So I think there are more to speak, and I see Hirok there. So both of us share a very nice experience of, our Adi Shankara drama, and I should share that, and with that I will close. See, during those days, Swami made the high school students chant, 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In our Balika's time, during 70s, there was, we used to have the chapter 15, 16 in syllabus and things like that. I hope all of you know those who are in 70s Balika students, they will remember this, right? And during those times in 70s, when we were in one of the towns in Tamil Nadu, I was also lucky because as a habit, we used to read Bhagavad Gita at home, and we used to memorize most of the chapters. And there used to be some small competitions by some trust. Year on year you go and compete. You choose the chapter you want to chant and things like that as school children. Great time we had those days. And when this 12th Swami very clearly said, instructed, and I still remember the primary school children, secondary school children, used to chant this 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It is Bhakti Yoga. It's a wonderful, why did Swami do this? He was actually teaching us, right? In terms of how can you be a good devotee, right? As Swami said, a very clear expression of, I will time and again give you the guidance, right? But you have to take one step and, start putting it to practice, right? Very nicely, right? So why I'm saying is there is a nice experience I read in Kasturigaru's book also recently. So I thought I will relate to both of them. So, and when this particular stanza used to come, I've seen Swami repeating this, in Mandir along with the children, and we also used to chant. All of us used to chant together. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karunayevacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukka sukakshami. Right? Says, who is my bhakta? Right? Adveshta sarva bhutanam, one who does not have hatred against anybody. Utraya. Why have this hatred? So nice experience. So he says, loving God, he writes. It's a beautiful expression. Olden days, when this mandir was getting constructed, there were a set of people who came from Rajahmundry, right? And they used to be very free with Bhagwan, and to the extent that they used to partake the the betel leaf and pan from the box, as if they are Gokula friends, like Gopala said, olden days. And some of these people used to feel, furious. How can they just go and take, whatever they want, kept for Swami's altar and things like that. And Swami used to permit them, have fun, they have come to work there in Prashantilalayam, and on the return journey, they were going back and they were actually inviting Bhagwan to their native town. And Swami comes out and says, there's two of the senior office bearers in Prashanti Mandir. That time he says, no, you're not traveling with me to this trip. You know why? You are jealous of them. They were happy with me. He said, Adveshta Sarva Bhutana. Just imagine, at every stage, Swami taught this, says, never have this hatred, right? And during this Adi Shankara's drama, again and again, 3 times it has got, reenacted in Avatar's, I would say, time. Therefore, that it has got a deeper meaning and deeper significance. As we call it, in Sanskrit, it used to be called Moha Mudgara. The one which Bhajagovindam was originally called Moha Mudgara, right? It removes that moha in you, right? So that gives you liberation. That is why it was termed, it was actually originally the Moha Mudgara, later on called Bhajagovindam. So we were, Swami was, allocating the songs for 3-4 of us who are also singing along with hero being the Adi Shankara at that point of time. Swami looked at me and he said, you do this, right? Maybe he knows the life which will come subsequently, right? How life is going to be hectic in outside world. Swami very clearly said, Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakrita Piyena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamenana Charcha. What does it mean? You don't need to memorize all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dita. Take one stanza. Follow that. Enough. Because that itself will do everything else. It is like a master cleaner. It is like a master purifier. It is like a master guidance note, right? For you. It's like it's like the what to say, the guiding principle. So Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. It is enough if you take a drop of Ganges and do Prokshanam, right? You don't need to drink the entire Ganges. You can't also if you want, right? Sakrita Piyena Murari Samarcha. My God, what an amount of practical assurance from time and again we have got, right? Reassured, from Bhagwan's side, Sakrita Piyena, for a little fraction of a minute, if you are able to connect with the divine, it's enough. Sakrita Piyena Murari Samarcha. Kriyate Tasya Yamenana Charcha. The one is not going to argue with the Lord Yama whether you are going to heaven or hell, right? We don't know after life. None of us understand all that, right? We are not in that space to even to understand, but we believe the expressions, right? We have faith. We feel that we are the right path, so that we get liberation. Mohamudgara, that is what it is, right? Essentially saying Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam is not required. So this is what is the biggest teaching which Bhagwan gave, and lots of experiences as we keep remembering. I'm sure the last 1.5 hours was well spent, and all of you would have taken nuggets of wisdom from Bhagwan directly, and you will reflect and put something into your life in terms of practice, and take this marathon run, towards him. Sairam. Sairam Sastri.
Sairam Prasanna. Nice hearing to you after a long time, but it's always a pleasure listening to you.
Sairam.
Sairam Gopi, Sairam.
Hi, Hirag.
Sairam Hirag, Sairam, Jai Sairam.
Who else is
Sairam Paul.
Kantharao sir here? Yeah, easier. Yes. Wait, let me finish.
Yeah. Kuchivanchi Sai Veera Venkatamaku Pulingeshwar Lakshmi Kantarao Garu is here.
He came a little bit late, but the moment you started talking of Adi Shankara, that's all. We all went into, I think Kantarao, Gopi, everybody went into those those times, no, when we, and to think that God called you and gave you all this praptis, right? All this praptis,
Yes.
Swami used to say, no? To
Yes.
think, to call you, get you into his omnipresence. See, which is happening to all the devotees, right? Amongst all the devotees of Swami.
Correct.
Everybody is not, it does not get the visibility of Swami's love
Correct.
and all the things,
Correct.
right?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling in the beginning. I was telling today that Padmanabha Shastri says when Swami changed that, now Papoham Papa Karmana. Swami said Praptoham Prapta Karmana. Swami said the fact that you have come to this fold, there is no sinner in this place. Swami said.
Yeah.
The fact that you have stepped in Prashanti Nilayam, you are not a sinner anymore. He said Praptoham. You got Prapti, so you came here. That's all. Praptoham Prapta Karmanam Praptatma Prapta Sambhavan Trahimam Kripya Deva Sharnagata Vatsala. I think that's a expression which most of us carry home in our mind and body.
But one of the things which I have to really seriously praise of you, Prasanna, is that the amount of work, seva that you guys are doing, the amount of involvement that you have in Sai's activities, the amount of organizational work which you guys are doing, no, is tremendous.
Once we should have all of you, singing your songs, your pet songs. Since we're all our old gang here,
It keeps happening in our satsang once in a while when the speaker doesn't land up, or we are.
Why I'm saying that, no, Venkat, why I'm saying that is, no, there are certain songs, Swami has asked these people to sing at least 100 times.
Yeah.
So, Guru, all of you know Narayaniyam, right? When Narayana Bhattar wrote this one Narayaniyam, after every statement, the couplet it says, in Tamil it says, Am Endru Thalayai Aatti Angigaritaram. That is, Guru Ayyappan actually shook his head, approved the song, and that's how the song became a public song. Right? Yeah, imagine some of these people here, my God, how many times I say most of these bhajans are also, some of the bhajans are instructive bhajans. It's not really only Nam Sankirtan, if you really see. So some of the songs are instructive bhajans also. It changes the code of conduct also, it says, So if you really see it, and that's all approved. It's all approved bhajans. Which means Swami has asked them to sing again and again. So which means, this is the most documented avatar, I would say, kind of expressions.
So very happy to have all of you. What started off as something that was supposedly a short term has become one Sunday evening routine, without which the week is not complete. And
I missed a few of them in between. Got preoccupied.
It's all available as the gems of Swami on YouTube. I have to tell you, there are what inspires us is people who see it. There's an average of late. There's an average of about 1,000 people who see it within a few days. Yeah, that happens every week. And looking forward to seeing you all next Sunday, same time, with yet another alumni. To be in bliss with the lessons. Today has been absolutely apt. I will call them small couplets that we should take back, and it's very, very important to every one of us in our day-to-day lives. Thank you so very much, brother. We'll finish off with 21 Samasta Lokas.
21.
Yeah, we do that every week. We started with COVID and we continue doing that. I'm just going to mute all of you so that it becomes don't manage. Yeah. Samasta loka sukino bhavantu. 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 Samasta loka सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः 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 सुखिनो भवन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय। Sai Ram, good night, stay safe, looking forward to seeing you all next week. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram. Sai
Ram, sir.
Sai Ram, Gopi. Sai Ram.
Ram. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Sai Ram. Sai Ram. Thank you.